Hey everyone. So we're going to be continuing this piece, which unfortunately the sketch part was not recorded correctly. It was going well, and then halfway through it decided to switch the screen it was recording, which was a little bit of a bummer. Um, so we're going to do the coloring now, and sorry that there's no sketch. Anyway, let's keep going. So I just got client approval. So we're gonna continue with this, though there were some things I think I want to change. Not dramatically, just just some little stuff. Like I'd really like to just have some of the arrows be more jostled looking. Um, Simply because I don't think they look natural enough right now. They're sort of just all lined up perfectly, and that's not how they actually probably would be if they were falling back like this. Just adding some arrows. Move one here. Don't really need it. I think you get the idea that there are arrows here, and I'd rather there be an obvious gap where an arrow sort of was supposed to be and fell over than well, there's another perfectly straight arrow just chilling. This arrow seems ridiculously long. Get rid of another one. Sorry, arrows. Now it's funny because I spent so much time actually getting them to look just right earlier. This one needs to be a little bit further back, I think. Okay, so let's keep removing some of these arrows. Da, 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 da. Oops. I keep doing this thing. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll see I do it a lot, and I don't know why I'm doing it now. I've never had this problem in the past, but essentially the issue is when I'm working, I'll hit the number key to set the opacity for my brush, but I'll still have like the eyedropper tool open instead of the brush tool, and instead of setting my brush opacity, I end up setting my layer opacity, and it's so stupid. Like I shouldn't be doing it. It's not Adobe's fault or anything. It's just like a dumb user mistake. But I just keep doing it. I don't know why. I can't figure out what's wrong with me. And like, after it's happened this many times, you'd think I would have learned, but I don't know. When I press the buttons, I don't really think about what I'm doing. I just do it so fast. and I'm paying for it now, I guess. All right, arrows, quiver. I think we're good. I think we're good. Nope, I hate myself. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do one more. Just so that the angles aren't all going the exact same direction. There we go. There. Alrighty. I've got to extend the shafts back. Alright. Fair enough. Now, merge. And there were a couple little things that I wanted to tweak in retrospect. I hope my mic's loud enough. I did a decibel boost because it was just a little bit too quiet. But hopefully this works a little bit better. Oh, gotta turn down my opacity. Oh, that time it worked because I had my brush open. So I'm very excited this week because last week I submitted some stuff to Games Workshop, which is, I'm sure many of you know, a very large miniature game studio located in the UK. And sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. I think someone next door is using Facebook or something, and it's really loud. And my speakers are set through my headphones, so it shouldn't be me. Anyway, I'm sorry to get off topic. It just came out of nowhere, and I was kind of puzzled for a second. Anyway, so I submitted some photos of my own miniatures, my Iron Hands army. And, I mean, as well as doing digital painting, I kind of actually do miniatures to relax. It's sort of funny. But I submitted my pictures, and you know, I was hoping to get like, you know, a single image on their website, but instead they asked me to write an article about it. So I ended up doing this 8-page kind of documentarian discussion on them about how I had converted things and how I painted them. And in the end, it was funny. They had to dramatically cut it back because I mean, they asked for as much as I possibly could provide them in terms of content, so I happily obliged. But in the end, it was just too much stuff. But anyway, so that went over really well, and I was speaking to them this morning, and they said that, you know, they really liked it, and they got a lot more traffic on their site, so please keep submitting stuff. So that was really nice of them. But I also kind of snuck in. I was curious about whether they'd take digital paintings because, well, you know, I love digital painting. I love the Games Workshop intellectual property. Why not combine the two? And they said that they never really thought of it. I guess people don't really submit their drawings and stuff that often, but they said to go ahead and try it. There's, you know, worst case they don't use it. Best case, who knows? So we'll see. Sort of one of my dreams, even since I was little, was to be an artist for Games Workshop. And put in perspective, you know, I've been wargaming for like 16 years now, and that's you know, I was 24, so it's a long time of hoping and dreaming. Okay, so now that we've made those changes, let's go and add a coloring layer. All right, time to add the new folder. So I use color folders, and then I'll add layers inside them. I realize this probably isn't that necessary, but it's sort of like an artifact of when I used to use multiply layers to color, and the reason I don't use multiply layers anymore is that they just darken the image way too much, which makes sense because they're multiply layers. But that's not the point. The point is you don't actually have to use a folder for your coloring, but I kind of like it just because it makes everything nice and neat. Also, it's useful because if I want to just turn off the coloring, I can just say boop off. Or conversely, if I want to change one layer in there, I can just go in and tweak it using the hue saturation. I know some artists just use one layer for everything, and I respect that, but it's not how I work. As you can see right now, I'm just doing some touch-ups before I start coloring. Okay. Alrighty. I hope you guys enjoy the rings over the gloves. It's sort of inspired by my Skyrim character who he wears. I mean, if you've ever played Skyrim, you know that if you're wearing gloves, then the rings go over your gloves, sort of like Sauron in the One Ring in the Lord of the Rings series. But I think it's kind of a cool look, and it makes sense too. I mean, wearing a ring underneath a glove is very uncomfortable, but the only thing I don't really understand is how you could fit the ring over your glove. Like, if you chose to wear it without the glove, there's no way that thing would stay on. But whatever. All right. So finally, as promised, we're going to do the color layer. Okay. Now, I usually do my color layers in a very specific way, which is I start with a background sort of wash. In this case, it's going to be pretty boring. I'm actually a little bit... So I've been enjoying working on this project. The only thing is that it's just so... I mean, I'm doing this faction that's fire, obviously, because I'm doing all these dragons and burn spells. But the only problem is that after doing so many of these, I'm sort of tired of always doing reds and warm yellows. Yeah. But what are you going to do? Okay, so let's add some more of these. So we're just going in and doing the fire. And if you saw my my series on the Ash Eater Dragon, you'll know I don't spend too much time coloring the fire, simply because a lot of the way I do fire comes from later color dodge layers. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of redundant because it's just going to be done over anyway, and the color dodges actually add their own color. So it's not extremely necessary. Oh man. Okay, just giving it some more yellow. Okay. We're going to do another layer for the skin, which is, I mean, it's pretty much going to stay similar to this. The thing is, the light source is so intense and so close that everything's going to be tinted reddish yellow anyway. Oh, whoops, hit the X button. Oh yeah, really quick shortcut, which I love to use, and sometimes loves to be used even when I don't want it to be, is the X button. So if you have two colors selected, boom, boom, you can press X to switch between them. And it's really great if you're doing my whole push and pull thing where push the color here. I didn't quite like it. Push it back. Just switch back. It also is really good because it pulls you away from using. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. It pulls you away from using the eraser, and the eraser is. I mean, don't get me wrong. Eraser is a really important tool, but I try to move away from using it whenever possible. Ooh, those teeth look so gross. It's actually kind of funny because they look that way because everything else is so saturated, and these are so desaturated. They're not going to add to the value. They're just going to be adding to the essentially the color. They're the hue. They're not going to be affecting the brightness and darkness. Okay, I'll do the center of the mouth. These are going to have to get a little love with the multiply tool layer later. What a handsome gent. Alrighty. Let's do the hair next. And I'll also kind of give him bluish hair. The reason I'm doing this, I just want to kind of add some more colors. I mean, I could do like a ruddy brown and then, hey, it's done. I don't actually need to do anything, but I just want to add a little bit of blue to the piece. And it's not going to stay this blue. I'm just doing the basing like this. This is going to be messed with in a second. I think I might need to get a new nib for my stylus. It's starting to make these kind of weird poppy sounds, like almost a little like just maybe from use. I think since I've done this, I've painted. Since I got this Wacom, I've done quite a few pieces on here, and I don't know. Maybe it's like every 100 pieces or something you need to change your nib, but that seems like it'd get expensive after a while. He's sort of like an inverse Oompa Loompa. Blue hair instead of green. And we're going to throw a little bit of facial hair on, just so that we don't think he's a young boy being burned. Because no one wants to see that. Alright, so let's tone this down a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in with the brush here and get the thinner areas of the hair a little bit less powerful. Alrighty, so the hair looks pretty good. I realized that I forgot to tint. Oh man, it's so subtle. I forgot to tint the ears. Not that you'll probably even be able to notice. I'm not gonna lie. So what I'm doing now is I'm just adding some blood vessels. And the human face is kind of interesting because it's sort of, there's 3 bands of color that go across it. The bottom is bluish, even on women. On men, it's more pronounced because of the stubble, but from facial hair. But on women, they even have it as well. It's just not as distinct. The top of the head is usually more yellow. And if I remember correctly, that's actually because the skin is thinner and the skull is more readily visible, which is sort of disturbing. And then the eyes, the eye area is sort of like a purplish blue. It's too purple, more blue. Of course, you can't just leave him looking like this because he looks like a clown or a prostitute. Take your pick. But let's bring it in a little bit. There you go. Wow, it's weird. I was checking to see what opacity these layers are, and I guess I gravitate towards 33. Oop. Gotta take this phone call. 1 second. Hey guys, sorry about that. My recorder tried to pull another switcheroo on me and started recording the other side, but I caught it pretty quickly. So I'm just gonna show you what I did. Whoa, what is going on? What is this thing? Anyway, so pretty much I just did a couple touch-ups, and I'll show you the colors in a second. So I did a couple touch-ups to fix his form, and I can actually show you. So I straightened out the dagger here. I brought in his chest a little bit because he was a little bit excuse me, a little bit ballooned out. So I narrowed him in, and I defined his eyes a little bit better. And actually, I don't know. Maybe the eyes weren't. Maybe the eyes were fine the way they were. Anyway, so I did that, and I darkened his ear. And then I also tried to define his arm shape a little bit more. And I added a little bit of a highlight there just to, I need to bring that down a little bit, just to sort of define his arm shape so it was a little bit less nebulous. Okay, so nothing too big. And I normally reserve this stuff for the rendering, but it's, I don't know, I just want to kind of get it done now. And if anyone has any tips for me about using Camtasia, I don't know why it keeps doing this. I don't know if, I think I said this before, but it keeps like cutting to the other screen, and I don't know why. I thought it had to do with me activating a program on the other screen, but you know, I wasn't actually doing that last time. The time what happened during this recording session, actually, I wasn't doing anything with the other screen, and it still did it. So if there are any Camtasia pros out there, just drop a comment and say, hey, this is what's going on, or try doing this instead. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just further defining his arm shape by adding some flames sort of like emanating out of his arm. And I use tricks like this when I wanted to find the shapes that I'm working with more easily, and I don't feel like, I don't know, getting too involved in it. It's also great for touching up if you screwed up earlier. One other thing before I forget is I need to fix these fingertips. This one's a little bit too long, and these should be a little bit more faded out. Same with the thumb. There we go, much better. and hopefully it doesn't mess anything up. But before I started I did a couple tests before I started re-recording. But I'm listening to Django right now, radio station. So I was just listening to a little Rammstein. It's going to switch over because, it's a station. I don't really have control over it. And since I'm actually drawing, I really don't have any control over what's happening over there because I'm terrified to switch back. I don't know what will happen. Alrighty. Anyway. So there's his arm. And one thing which actually was sort of interesting that happened by accident was when I was putting these flames in, I was using some pretty broad strokes, and I wasn't really that concerned about how they ended up. But as a side effect, they made these little artifacts here, which are like here and here and here. And it looks like actually like his glove is coming apart a little bit. And it's not entirely something I don't like. So I think I'm going to add a couple more little kind of looks like pieces of, when you burn paper or something, and little chunks float away and drift off. Like that. Alrighty. Now for the color, I'm going to turn off the layers so you can see them one by one. So there's the original color I threw down, which you've already seen. There's some of the fire. I'm actually not sure what this layer is. It might be a dud layer? I don't know. There's this coat I colored. I think that was actually deleted. I don't believe that's going to be in the full recording. And what the hell is this? Oh, this is some of the leather. There's his skin. It's barely noticeable, I know. There's his lips and ear and nose, I think. There's some, actually, sorry, I'll leave that. There's his hair. And, I don't know what this one is. It looks like it's at 100, so maybe I didn't do anything. Yeah, I don't think there was anything there. But I know what I do want to do, which is I want to sample some of this color. And just put it in like that. One thing I was talking about is the metal in this piece, and I don't believe it's going to be in the recording, so I'm just going to restate what I was saying before. But essentially, metal is kind of an interesting thing to paint because depending on what kind it is, especially if it's a high sheen metal, it'll be very reflective of the colors and lights around it. So you don't really color it as much as you, I guess, imagine where the highlight. I don't know. It's really just a mirror of its surroundings, so it can be a little bit challenging to actually paint. Okay, so that's that, and for the last bit, I'm just going to throw a little bit more purplishy blue. I don't know why, I sort of gravitate towards like purple and pinks. I think it's just because I don't see them a lot in artwork, and I think they just give it like a sort of, maybe, I don't know, I can't really put my finger on it, just this this look that you don't really find a lot of places, and I don't know, I like it. So we're just going to build it in there, just a little bit. It also gives some good contrast against these reds and oranges and yellows. All right, so that's pretty good for color. So I'm going to save, and I'm going to add a new layer, and it's going to be an adjustment layer for brightness and contrast. And let's just bump the contrast some more. Wow, that looks really painful and hot. Mission accomplished. So I don't think we're going to touch the brightness, but the contrast I'm definitely going to bump up a bit. That's kind of funny. So when you do it this way, when you lower the contrast, it almost looks more like a traditional drawing. And when you do it this way, it's like more. I don't know. I sort of like both. It's kind of hard to decide, but I think we should go with a little bit more contrast. If I don't like it, I can always do something about it later. So save as. Bam. Merge those layers. All right, so I guess we're going to do the rendering as one go as well. So let's do some color dodges. This should be fun. We're just going to choose this color as our color dodge color. Oh man, that's great. It's kind of a good thing that I was able to do the fire faction for this game, because I really enjoy doing fire. I'm not a pyro or anything, but it's just, I don't know, it's I don't know, it's just so dynamic and does so much interesting stuff. Doing a little bit of subsurface scattering on the ear here, and a little rear lit a little bit. Gotta drop the strength of the brush a little bit, or the eraser a bit. Okay. So it's sort of funny. When you do these highlights for the underlight, you have to go against everything that you know. So usually when you do a highlight, you do a highlight here, and that sort of shows the light coming from this angle. But underlighting is the complete opposite.